It's time to start your day with the First Cup Morning Show.
Serving up a warm cup of good news, positivity, and uplifting messages.
And now, here's your host,
Our dad,
Joshua Kangley.
Hello, friends. Good morning to you, and welcome back on in to the First Cup Monday Morning Show. I'm your host, Joshua Kangley, and here we are again on a Monday morning, starting off the week together with some good news. Thank you so much for joining the show with me this morning. I got some great news to share with you, and we will get to that in just a bit. But first, let's start off with a quote. Abraham Lincoln once said, "In the end, it's not the years in your life that count. It's the life in your years." Now, that's a quote that asks us to slow down and take an honest look at how we're living. Because look, time moves forward no matter what we do. Days turn into years, whether we're awake to them or just passing through. But life, real life, is found in the present, in the moments we're fully here, in the conversations that matter, in the courage to love, to forgive, and try again. You can live a long life and yet never truly live. And you can live a shorter one that leaves a lasting imprint on everyone it touches. This quote isn't about being busy. It's about being intentional. Are we investing our time in things that actually matter? Are we growing, giving, becoming? Or are we just counting days and hoping something meaningful happens along the way? This morning, this week, maybe that's the invitation. Don't wait for someday to fully live. Bring life into today, into this hour, right here, right now. Because when it's all said and done, it won't be the number of years we remember. It will be in the depth of life we chose to live within them. And now let's go to the Did You Know? Did you know that on this day, December 22nd in 1937, the Lincoln Tunnel officially opened, connecting New Jersey and New York City beneath the Hudson River? And that moment mattered more than people often realize. This wasn't just an engineering milestone, it was a statement of resilience. Remember, America was still climbing out of the Great Depression. Jobs were scarce. Confidence was shaken, but projects like the Lincoln Tunnel represented belief in the future, belief that the country would move forward and not retreat. At the time, tunneling under a major river was still considered risky and ambitious. The Lincoln Tunnel became one of the longest underwater vehicular tunnels in the world, built by thousands of workers, many of whom desperately needed employment during those hard years. But it also fundamentally changed daily life. You see, before the tunnel, crossing the Hudson meant ferries or long detours. Afterward, commerce, commuting, and connection between states accelerated almost overnight. It helped transform New York into the regional powerhouse it would become. And there's something symbolic here too, something important I want us all to realize. In a period marked by uncertainty and hardship, think of that, 1937, the nation didn't choose isolation. It didn't retreat. It built, it kept going, it chose connection. We chose to dig beneath obstacles instead of being stopped by them. So when we look back at 1937 and the opening of the Lincoln Tunnel, we're not just remembering concrete and steel. We're remembering a moment when Americans decided that even in difficult times, the path forward was still worth building. And sometimes progress isn't loud. Sometimes it happens quietly, just beneath the surface. But it ends up carrying millions forward for generations. And if you didn't know, now you know. According to nationaldaycalendar.com, today, December 22nd, is Forefathers Day. Each year, Forefathers Day commemorates the landing of the Pilgrim Fathers in Plymouth, Massachusetts, on December 21st, 1620. The Old Colony Club of Plymouth, Massachusetts, introduced the observance in 1769. The town observes the holiday on December 22nd. Unless it's on a Sunday, then it's observed on the following Monday. Carrying on traditions established in 1769, the Old Colony Club recognizes the forefathers with several events. The celebration begins at 6 a.m. with a march by members to the top of Coles Hill. Next, they read a proclamation honoring the forefathers, followed by a ritual firing of the club's cannon. The Old Colony Club and the Mayflower Society both include a succotash dinner as part of their celebration. Succotash was recorded as a part of the first celebration. Unlike later versions of succotash, in Plymouth, succotash is served as a broth containing large pieces of fowl and meat that are sliced at the table. And the Old Colony Club did not call the forefathers pilgrims either. That name didn't come until much later. Well into the 1800s, from New England to Los Angeles, churches and other organizations celebrated the day with meals they called New England dinners. Speeches reflected on lessons the years since the Plymouth settlers arrived, while others recounted their history. And that rich history that we have here in America is something we shouldn't forget. And now it's time for some animal fun facts.
Today's animal is the sun bear. Did you know sun bears have long tongues to pull termites and bees out of their nests and honey from hives?
Did you know sun bears are the smallest member of the bear family?
All right, friends, let's get to the good news of the week. This week, good news headline comes from sunnyskies.com. News source credit goes to sunnyskies.com. He got one toy for Christmas as a child, and now he's giving hundreds away. A simple childhood gift from decades ago is now bringing joy to hundreds of children this holiday season in Texas. In Vernon, the United Samaritan Services of Vernon, or USSV, recently hosted its annual toy drive, an event designed to make Christmas a little brighter for families in need. Now, in its second year, the toy drive welcomed children to meet Santa and the Grinch, choose from more than 400 toys, and pick either a cozy blanket or a stuffed animal to take home. The heart behind the event traces back to the 1980s and a moment that left a lasting mark on one little boy. At just 2 years old, he received a single Christmas present, a plush dog from the Salvation Army. He named the toy Rambo, and it quickly became his constant companion. At the time, his single mother was doing everything she could to make ends meet, leaving little room for holiday gifts. And that one small act of kindness meant everything. Decades later, the toy is still by his side. And that child grew up to become Jeff Stewart, the organizer of the USSV toy drive. Stewart says his experience taught him how powerful even one gift can be. He still remembers how much that toy meant to him and hopes to create similar memories for today's children. The toy drive held this week was a huge success, with families lining up before the doors even opened. Afterward, the nonprofit shared its gratitude online, thanking the donors and volunteers who helped make the day possible. For Stewart, being able to give back all these years later is deeply meaningful. He said, seeing the brightness in their eyes when they pick out a toy, and knowing that if even 100 of the 300 kids who come through find their own Rambo, then I've done something. You know, this story reminds us of something we often forget. Joy doesn't always come from abundance. Sometimes it comes from one small moment of kindness at exactly the right time. A 2-year-old boy, one toy, one Christmas. No stacks of presents, no excess, just a used stuffed dog and the feeling that someone cared. And here's the part that stays with me. You see, that toy didn't just get him through that one Christmas. It stayed with him for a lifetime. Because when a child is seen, when a family is helped without judgment, it plants something deeper than gratitude. It plants purpose. Decades later, that same child is now standing on the other side of that door, making sure hundreds of kids don't walk away empty-handed, not just with toys, but a memory they may carry forever. And this story isn't really about Christmas presents. It's really about the ripple effect of compassion. One act, one gift, one moment. You never know how far it will travel. So maybe the reminder for us this week is don't underestimate the power of showing up for someone. Don't dismiss the small things and never assume that what you give today won't shape someone's tomorrow. Because sometimes one toy becomes hope, and hope grows up and it gives back. I really hope you enjoyed that good news. I sure did. What a great story. And for more good news, positivity, and uplifting messages, you can always visit guidinglights.org. That's www.guidinglights.org. And as always, before we go, I'd like to leave you with a dad joke. Who is Frosty's favorite ant? Antarctica. Well, folks, that wraps up this week's show. I hope it brought some light into your life and a smile on your face, ready for the week. Now I challenge you to be the reason someone smiles this week. And have a great week yourself. And remember, don't let the mainstream media fool you. There is good news happening all the time.